for getting the Stanley Cup on the side of the road, a Zamboni driver winning an NHL game and making an unbreakable record then ended in disaster.
Left, here's Clifford, stopped by David Ayres.
These are NHL facts you never heard of. 15. The fastest 2 goals in NHL history happened in just 2 seconds. Hockey is already a fast-paced game, but in 2018, the NHL witnessed a record that barely gave fans time to blink. In a game between the Nashville Predators and St. Louis Blues, the 2 teams combined for 2 goals in just 2 seconds, the fastest back-to-back goals in NHL history. Nashville's Philip Forsberg scored an empty net goal late in the 3rd period, but right off the next face-off, Jaden Schwartz of the Blues fired the puck immediately past the goaltender, scoring a goal before the game clock had even moved a full second.
St. Louis just standing there in tight. Here's Forsberg, hit the post!
The NHL officially recorded the time between goals at 2 seconds, making it the fastest goal exchange ever. It's one of those freak occurrences in hockey that will likely never happen again. The precision, timing, and sheer luck required for 2 teams to score that fast is nearly impossible to replicate. Think 2 seconds is fast. Imagine forgetting one of the most legendary trophies in sports history. That's exactly what happened next. 14. The Stanley Cup was once left on the side of the road. The Stanley Cup is the most legendary trophy in sports, but in 1905, a group of celebrating players treated it like a cheap beer can. After winning the cup, the Ottawa Silver Seven went out for a massive celebration. And somewhere between the drinks and the cheers, they forgot the Stanley Cup on the side of the road. It wasn't until the next morning that they realized their mistake. And by some miracle, the cup was still there. A local tinsmith had picked it up and held onto it until the team came to retrieve it. Imagine that. A trophy worth millions today was once left abandoned on a sidewalk overnight. Over the years, the cup has had plenty of adventures, including being used as a dog's water bowl, a cereal bowl, and even taken for a swim. But this early mishap remains one of the craziest Stanley Cup stories ever. If you thought leaving the Stanley Cup outside was bad, wait until you hear about the time a Zamboni driver had to play in an actual NHL game and won. 13. A Zamboni driver once played in an NHL game and won. Imagine being a 42-year-old Zamboni driver sitting in the stands when suddenly you're told to get dressed and play in an NHL game. That's exactly what happened to David Ayres in 2020. The Carolina Hurricanes lost both their goalies to injury against the Toronto Maple Leafs, so they were forced to use their emergency backup goalie, E-Bug, a man who literally worked as a Zamboni driver at the arena. The moment he stepped onto the ice, it looked like a disaster waiting to happen. Ayres let in 2 quick goals, and it seemed like Toronto would easily score more. But then, something incredible happened.
Stretch pass, Austin Matthews cutting on Gardner. To the slot. A shot blocked by Van Riemsdyk. The rebound off the stick of Ayres. It goes high. Chopped in. Ayres again says no. He's got it.
And the capacity crowd here, all the Leaf fans, they're cheering for Ayres.
The Canes can't get it out. Kerfoot. Hyman. What a save!
Under the elbow on the blocker's side, and he squeezes it all time.
Ayres shut the door and didn't allow another goal, making 8 saves in a row and leading the Hurricanes to a 6-3 victory. Not only did he become the first emergency backup goalie to win an NHL game, but he also became a hero overnight. His goalie stick was even sent to the Hockey Hall of Fame. You think that's unbelievable? What if I told you the fastest hat trick in history happened in the time it takes to drink a glass of water? 12. The fastest hat trick in NHL history took just 21 seconds. Scoring a hat trick is one of the greatest achievements for any hockey player, but doing it in just 21 seconds. That's exactly what Bill Mazienko pulled off in 1952. Playing for the Chicago Blackhawks, Mosienko lit up the New York Rangers with a hat trick in just 21 seconds, a record that has stood unbroken for over 70 years. It happened so fast that some fans in the arena missed the entire thing just by looking away for a moment. The goals came one after another, with Mosienko exploiting defensive mistakes and burying every chance he got. To put this into perspective, most hat tricks take an entire game, sometimes multiple periods, but Mosienko's took less time than a single commercial break on TV. Even in today's high-speed NHL, no player has come close to breaking this record, making it one of the most mind-blowing scoring feats in hockey history. Scoring that fast is crazy, but what about a record that will literally never be broken? The next player on this list set an unbreakable milestone as a rookie, and no one's come close since. 11. Teemu Selanne's 76-goal rookie season will never be matched. Teemu Selanne didn't just have a great rookie season, he had the greatest rookie season of all time. In 1992-93, playing for the Winnipeg Jets, Selanne scored 76 goals, a record that still blows hockey fans' minds today.
Keep up to him.
This guy is like going Mach 1.
He's hit alone on Soderstrom. Selanne scores!
Solani wrapped up and scored! Oh my, what a goal!
Teemu loves fast cars, and he played like that.
Not many people could skate like that back in the early 90s.
He changed the game. His first.
No rookie before or since has ever reached even 60 goals, let alone 76. Even crazier, Selanne scored more goals as a rookie than most legends ever did in a single season, including names like Sidney Crosby, Alex Ovechkin, and even Wayne Gretzky in some years. His effortless goal scoring, speed, and creativity made him unstoppable. And even as the years went by, nobody has ever come close to breaking his record. With today's NHL emphasizing defensive play and goaltending improvements, it's almost impossible to imagine anyone ever surpassing Selanne's once-in-a-lifetime rookie season. You think Selanne's record is untouchable? Just wait. Our next player has more championships than most NHL franchises combined. 10. Henri Richard won more Stanley Cups than any other player. Winning the Stanley Cup is the dream of every hockey player. Winning 2 or 3 is a legendary accomplishment, but Henri Richard, he won 11. Playing for the Montreal Canadiens, Richard dominated the NHL, winning more championships than any other player in history. His cup total is so ridiculous that even modern dynasties can't come close. The Pittsburgh Penguins have 5 in their entire history. The Chicago Blackhawks have 6, and even the Toronto Maple Leafs only have 13, just 2 more than Richard won by himself. What makes it even crazier? His brother, Maurice "Rocket" Richard, is one of the greatest players of all time. And Henri won more cups than him, too. In today's NHL, where player movement and salary caps make dynasties nearly impossible, Richard's 11 Stanley Cups will likely never be matched again. Speaking of unforgettable records, the next one on our list is so bizarre, the NHL actually had to scrap it after just 2 seasons. 9. The NHL once tried using a glowing puck for TV broadcasts. Imagine watching a hockey game and suddenly the puck is glowing like a UFO on your screen. That's exactly what happened in 1996 when Fox Sports introduced the infamous glow puck. Designed to make it easier for fans to follow the puck, the system used infrared sensors inside the puck to make it glow blue on TV. And if a player took a hard slap shot, it would turn red like a missile.
And so Gretzky in the final 2:45 of this first period.
17 shots.
While the idea seemed revolutionary, fans absolutely hated it. Traditional hockey viewers found the glowing effect distracting and unnatural, and players mocked the idea, saying if you couldn't follow the puck, you just didn't know hockey. The experiment lasted just 2 seasons before it was scrapped, going down as one of the strangest tech fails in sports history. If you think the glow puck was weird, wait until you hear about the most ridiculous stat line ever. One player dominated the NHL so completely that he holds 61 different records. 8. Wayne Gretzky holds 61 NHL records, more than anyone else in any sport. There's dominance, and then there's Wayne Gretzky dominance. The Great One holds an unbelievable 61 official NHL records, more than any other athlete in any professional sport. Think about this. He has more assists than anyone else has total points. His 2,857 career points are so untouchable, the closest active player, Sidney Crosby, isn't even halfway there. Gretzky also holds the record for most goals, 894, most points in a season, 215, longest point streak, 51 games, and fastest to 100 points in a season, 34 games. His numbers are so absurd that the Hockey Hall of Fame waived the usual waiting period and inducted him immediately after he retired. NHL analysts agree. His records will never be broken, making him the most statistically dominant athlete in sports history. Gretzky's records are ridiculous, but the next one is just straight up mind-blowing, because this defenseman had a single-season stat so insane it looks like a typo. 7. Bobby Orr's plus 124 plus-minus record is untouchable.
That back to Orr. Orr chips on Horvath. Back through. Shot! Here comes Orr. He's got running room. Right to Esposito. Oh! It's 5-1. And Esposito has scored his second goal of the night. His 17th of the year. Bobby Orr picks up his second.
Hockey has had plenty of elite defensemen, but none were quite like Bobby Orr. In the 1970-71 season, Orr posted a plus 124 plus-minus rating, a stat so unrealistic it looks like something out of a video game. Plus-minus measures how many goals your team scores while you're on the ice, minus how many goals you give up. So for Orr to hit plus 124, it meant he was on the ice for 124 more goals for them against. In today's NHL, players struggle to hit even 40 points in a season. Orr was just that dominant, revolutionizing the defenseman position by skating like a forward, quarterbacking the offense, and shutting down opponents at the same time. Even with today's advanced stats and analytics, NHL experts agree nobody will ever come close to touching Orr's insane record. If you thought Orr's dominance was crazy, just wait. Our next record was set in 2023, and it's so ridiculous, even the team that set it couldn't believe what happened next. 6. The Boston Bruins 2022-23 season set an unbreakable record, then ended in disaster. The 2022-23 Boston Bruins had a season that seemed straight out of a fantasy draft.
Between the legs of WHOLESOME, the turnover at the blue line, and Sam Bennett back in the Florida lineup opens the scoring in Game 2. Give it away, here's Marchand down the slot, shoots, he scores! Brad Marchand got a pizza, raced into the slot, and then drilled one by the glove hand of Lyon.
They finished with 65 wins and 135 points, shattering the NHL records for most wins and most points in a single season. No team had ever reached 65 wins, and their dominance from start to finish made them the heavy favorites to win the Stanley Cup. But then, in true Boston heartbreak fashion, the Bruins collapsed in the first round of the playoffs, blowing a 3-1 series lead to the Florida Panthers. The team that set an all-time record for regular season greatness didn't even make it past round 1. To this day, The 2022-23 Bruins are seen as both legendary and infamous, owning a record that might never be broken, while also suffering one of the biggest choke jobs in NHL history. Speaking of records, the next player on our list played more NHL games than anyone in history, spanning over 20 years on the ice. 5. Patrick Marleau played more NHL games than anyone in history. When it comes to longevity, Patrick Marleau is in a league of his own. Over a 23-year career, he played an NHL record 1,779 games, breaking Gordie Howe's long-standing record. What makes this even more insane? He did it as a skater, not a goalie. Goaltenders typically last longer because they take fewer hits, but Marleau was playing 82-game seasons deep into his 40s, proving just how durable he was. To put this into perspective, most players are lucky to hit 1,000 games. Marleau blew past that and kept going for almost another decade. While he never won a Stanley Cup, his Iron Man streak and dedication to the game made him one of the most respected players of his era. Playing the most games is impressive, but imagine playing a Stanley Cup final in a horror movie setting. That's exactly what happened in the next unbelievable NHL moment. 4. The 1975 Fog Game turned the NHL into a horror movie. The 1975 Stanley Cup Final between the Buffalo Sabres and Philadelphia Flyers is remembered for one of the strangest games in NHL history, now known as the Fog Game.
The unusually warm, moist air inside the arena has deposited a blanket of heavy mist along the surface, and the action becomes a surrealistic, dreamlike ballet. The players floating through mysterious, opaque clouds, the puck gliding somewhere around their skates, appearing and reappearing with maddening unpredictability.
Thanks to unseasonably warm weather and a lack of air conditioning, fog began to form inside the Buffalo Memorial Auditorium, covering the ice and making it nearly impossible to see the puck. Players and referees literally skated through a misty haze, trying to follow the action. But if that wasn't weird enough, things got even crazier when a bat flew onto the ice, forcing Sabres forward Jim Lorentz to swat it out of the air with his stick. The fall, the bat, and the bizarre playing conditions made this one of the most surreal hockey games ever played. You think a fog-covered Stanley Cup game is crazy? Our next NHL fact involves a mascot that went from meme to menace in record time. 3. The Philadelphia Flyers mascot, Gritty, became a meme legend overnight. When the Philadelphia Flyers introduced Gritty in 2018, nobody knew what to think. With his googly eyes, bright orange fur, and chaotic energy, he looked more like a cartoon villain than a traditional mascot. But within hours of his debut, Gritty went viral, with hockey fans and meme creators turning him into an online sensation. At first, even Flyers fans hated him, until he fully embraced his role as an unhinged, trash-talking menace. Gritty started trolling rival teams, photobombing fans, and getting into fake fights with security guards. He even sent a direct message to the Pittsburgh Penguins mascot, Iceberg, telling him to sleep with one eye open. Now, Gritty is one of the most famous mascots in sports, proving that sometimes being weird is the best marketing strategy of all time. If you think Gritty is bizarre, wait until you hear about a secret message hidden on the Stanley Cup that almost nobody knows about. 2. The Stanley Cup has a secret engraving that almost no one notices. The Stanley Cup is covered in the names of legendary players and teams, but hidden among them is a tiny, secret engraving that most people never see. Somewhere on the cup is the phrase, "Loving Cup," a nod to its origins when Lord Stanley donated it as a gift in 1892. But that's not the only weird thing about the cup's engravings. Some players have had their names misspelled, while others have had their names outright removed for disciplinary reasons. Even more bizarre? When the cup runs out of space, the oldest ring is removed and stored in the Hall of Fame, meaning some names that were once on the trophy are now lost to time. The Stanley Cup isn't just a trophy, it's a piece of history that's constantly changing. Number 1. Wayne Gretzky's jersey was retired league-wide. Wayne Gretzky is the only player in NHL history to have his jersey number retired across the entire league. After his legendary career in which he broke virtually every offensive record imaginable, the NHL made an unprecedented move in 2000. They retired his number 99 for every team, ensuring that no player in the future could ever wear it again. It's a tribute usually reserved for cultural icons in other sports. Think Jackie Robinson in baseball or Bill Russell in basketball. Even players who wanted to honor him couldn't do so by wearing his number. It's just one more reason why the Great One remains in a class all his own. There you have it. 15 incredible NHL facts you probably didn't know. Which one surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments. And if you love these insane moments, check out our next video on 15 NHL careers tragically cut short. Trust me, you won't believe some of them.